Welcome back to the Diary of a Nature Journaler, and we're skipping right back to the beginning of April, which involved a walk at Cockbeck on Briganti land and spotting lots of leaf buds and leaf flowers. This month the area around the beck was starting to show that spring was slowly creeping up on us. Lesser celandine and wild garlic coming up. We managed to forage some wild garlic for soup. Nettles were starting to come up. And Merlin can still get to the beck easily as there's no leaves on the trees quite yet. We also saw a hare. Thankfully Merlin didn't see it. This is the second time we've seen hare in this area, and I just love watching them. You can see it's on its horn, she's watching us. Merlin was far more interested in jumping over logs. Jump! It was nice being by the beck and hearing the water, and still phenomenal to think that salmon used to once upon a time swim up this river. Maybe one day they'll come back. I saw my first cowslip, and we also found butterbur, not something that I find locally, but it's lovely to know that these are nearby. Incredible flowers. We had some rain after quite a bit of cold weather, and that just brought all the trees into life. Here you've got ash budburst, sycamore flowers. It's almost like the trees just like bloomed all at once. It was wonderful to see.
Maple. Oh, this is a maple. Yeah.
Tree flowers are just an incredible flower to find, and a good way of identifying trees. So I added to my journal this lovely leaf burst of sycamore just popping out of that pink lime green casing. It's an important time of year for our birds. Chiffchaff arrived just as our buds are blooming, and I've also seen chaffinch and a bullfinch here that was nibbling on blackthorn flowers. Another bird that made an impression on me this year was the Chetty's warbler. So we took a walk to St Aidan's Nature Reserve, and where once upon a time you would just hear one or two chetties, now you can just hear them across the whole site. It was just an incredible sound. This is Schedule 1 bird that is difficult to see, but you can definitely hear it. So this is my outdoor journal, and I did put the chetties in my nature journal. So moving on to May, the last 2 weeks of April were spent in France, and you can find that diary last month. The majority of May was spent looking at trees, but not all of it. So for Beltane, we went up to our local hill and we sketched the cowslips. There were just hundreds of cowslips on the hillside. It's a really beautiful sight. If you follow me on Instagram or a community member tier, you'll know about my tree compass project that we're currently running. This is a collaboration with my friend Amy. So we're going out and we're to a different tree, and we're inviting local community to come and connect and draw with us. So our first tree was the horse chestnut, and I found this really magnificent tree nearby, and also lots in our cemetery. So at the beginning of May, they just looked like huge, like candelabras on these trees. So this was one of the first trees that we did for our tree sketching project. If you'd like to find more about this, you can see the posts on Instagram, and I have made some other posts as well here on Patreon. So even though my journal seems to be concentrating on trees this year, I still had to make sure I had bluebell in. So Merlin and I took a run one more just to see the beautiful bluebells. You just can't beat it. Everything's in leaf. I love this lime green that Beech cast down, the dappled shade. We also found oak in new leaf and amazing oak flowers. We're back onto trees. So I included these beautiful oak flowers in my journal. And because I'd been in France for 2 weeks, I thought I might have missed the ash leaf bursting, but it had been so cold here in the UK that our spring seemed to have been very much delayed. So I managed to catch the moment of the ash leaves just popping out, and also this beautiful rowan just in bud. As a result of the tree project, I've also started to notice and identify trees that I didn't know we had, like that hornbeam and linden or lime tree. So that's been really interesting, finding trees locally that I didn't even know were there or didn't know how to identify before. Nature journaling is always, it's just always about learning for me, learning new things and adding new things to my knowledge. I really thrive on that. So I hope you manage to have a wonderful May and capture lots in your nature journals.